In today's digital age, video content has become an integral part of various applications, whether you are in healthcare, education, entertainment, data center, facility management, or security, or any other sector. Managing and optimizing video assets can be a daunting task. That's where customized video management comes into play. So today, we will explore how customized video management solutions can help streamline your workflow, enhance user experience, maximize the value of your video content. So today our speakers Sreeni and Vamsi will share their insight and practical possibilities of Duranc VMS on identifying the unique needs of your use cases, selecting the right video management tools and platform, tailoring video workflow to optimize efficiency, ensuring scalability and future proofing your video infrastructure, leveraging analytics and AI for actionable insight. We will also present few examples of success story of organizations that have harnessed customized video management to achieve their goals. Whether you are a seasoned professional looking to fine-tune your video strategies or new to the world of video management, this webinar will definitely promise and give you valuable insight and actionable takeaways. Feel free to ask questions at the end of the presentation, and we have a Q&A box below the screen of yours. So we request our participant to post your questions only in Q&A box and do not post it in the chat box. And we will take up the questions, and if required, we can also do a one-to-one call. We can allow you to speak if you raise your hand. The hand icon there below, you just press it. Then end of it, we'll ask you to come online and ask this question to the speakers. And thank you for joining today. As I say, let's have a great start for the day. And a little bit about Duranc, what we've been talking. So Duranc vision is to help businesses and organizations maximize the potential of their surveillance camera. To do this, they have built a secure, reliable, and cost-effective video platform that provides users with deep intelligence analytics and insight in real time. Founded in 2015, they gathered a highly talented global team to create the cloud-based platform. Duranc innovative video streaming and storage technology offers clients the ultimate in video surveillance functionality and delivered seamlessly from the cloud. They are headquartered in Nashville, USA. They have R&D center in Helsinki, Finland, and development and global support in Hyderabad in India, where our speakers Sreeni and Vamsi are broadcasting. And with me, I have DP Srinivas, Vamsi Krishna. Both are evangelists. They are traveling length and breadth of the country, talking to smart city leaders. They're talking to traffic management, talking to public sector, airports. They have wonderful case studies. I'm sure they're going to throw huge experience in front of all of us today. So I will now welcome Sreeni to do opening remarks, followed by Vamsi. Thank you. Over to Sreeni.
Thanks, Dominic. Today's topic is, you always come up with a good line of topic to challenge us. See, the understanding of the surveillance for the past and currently is basically primarily the implementation of cameras and looking for the evidence when something happens. So Duranc's philosophy is basically to make sure the existing infrastructure is protected by not throwing away any of the cameras of any kind, any make, or any model that is available in the implementation. We take those, we do analyze the video, we provide the entire VMS solution for managing of the users, managing of the storage, everything that is required to be in the VMS, right? But what is that beyond the VMS, right? So the beyond the VMS is you need to have a lot of these videos that need to be analyzed for the purpose of, be it for your process improvements, be it for your safety, or for any kind of customized utilization of that video, which can predict and real time or for the future gives you analysis that actually helps you in preventing the incidents and also improving your profitability by giving an opportunity to do process improvements. So it has to be a unified solution. VMS cannot be an isolated solution or isolated product that just manages the cameras. The management of the cameras are done by NVRs for a very long time, for almost 2 decades. But what do you do with VMS? It cannot be a packaged product. I give you the VMS, you just use it for managing the cameras, you just use it for managing the users. That's not the whole purpose of VMS looking forward. For the future ready of these solutions, they need to be very, very flexible to backward and forward integration. Backward integration with the old equipment that is there in the field, forward integration with whatever the customizations that you need. You may have a use case today, and that may become obsolete tomorrow. And you may need another use case or another requirement of video analytic in a couple of months. So can this VMS platform integrated with analytics can extend beyond what the analytics that you have today requirement wise, and then add those additional analytics for you as a single unified solution. Unified solution is the key of the thing. You cannot just have a solo isolated VMS that's just for the manageability. It need to have much more than manageability. That's what we are going to cover. This webinar topic is a really good one because it cut across all the verticals. It is not going to be the education, not the industry, because the cameras are everywhere. When you have cameras, when you have the feed coming in, like how the human being is watching with their own eyes and analyzing with their brain, the cameras are available. All that is required is in the backend algorithms that does the analysis and give the prediction. And that prediction should be meaningful, and that prediction should be useful for the business. So that's where we start.
Thanks for opening remarks, Sreeni. We have people raising hand. Those who raises a hand will take up the question at the, after Vamsi's presentation. Those who wish to again interact with both Sreeni and Vamsi. Both are the expert. They are the developer. They are the the people who are behind this VMS, Duranc VMS. So you can raise your questions and raise the hand. So we'll take it up. Over to Vamsi. You can go on with the presentation.
Thank you, Dominic. So taking on from the opening remarks from Mr. Srinivas, basically, let me just share my screen and then continue. Yeah. So people are aware of CCTV cameras, for a long time. People have been working with probably VMS systems also for a while now. But some of those VMS systems, what they have is typically used for camera management, as mentioned in the opening remarks. Typically, video management systems are expected to do these functionalities, are expected to provide these kind of features. So when you're looking at, you will not typically think of a video management system unless probably you have multiple locations or you have more than a few hundreds of cameras. If you just have a few handful of cameras, maybe you will have a DVR, maybe you have an NVR. Some cameras are there at your premises, you're recording them, and you probably think, I'm good to go. So if you grow beyond a few handful of locations and a few hundreds of cameras, that's when people start seeing the need for a video management system. And the moment you see a need for video management system, the beginning of it is to ensure you have connectivity to all your cameras. You have a proper device management, you have a proper user management, because you have multiple cameras, multiple locations. So you need to be sure that you have proper access control, who needs access on a need basis. You can manage that. You can see the health of the cameras, whether they're up or not, down, whether they're recording or not, these kind of things, and storage management, how many days you need the recordings to be stored. These kind of things are by default expected from a video management system. That's where you start with typically when you see see a need. Then slowly, when you start using it for a while, then the needs keep growing all the time, as we know. So you start thinking of, I will probably need geolocation mapping. I need to know where this camera is positioned, because if you observe something there, you need to dispatch some quick response team to that location, for example. So those kind of things start cropping up. You will need an integrated command control. Once you have more than a handful of locations, you see the need slowly, if not immediately. If you have seen it yesterday, you would have probably deployed it today. If you see the need today, you will deploy it tomorrow. Then some needs keep coming up for future. So these are the things that are expected of VMS system as of now. I mean, you will need the ability to trigger events. So trigger events based on the analysis so that you do on the video. Like Dominic was mentioning, maybe cameras do that to some extent, but to what extent they do probably is a topic for another day, in terms of what is the difference between pixel analysis, motion analysis, heuristics. Artificial intelligence is a term that is used by everybody everywhere. So there are too many nuances to that topic for another day, as I said. But typically, the analysis that is required with the proper neural networks and computer vision technologies to eliminate false alarms. The more false alarms that you get, you obviously lose the interest, lose the benefit that you actually can get out of the analysis. So it's important that the system has a proper capable neural network, deep learning based analytics on it, and then it can send notifications, not only display it on the platform, whatever you're using in the VMS, but also send out the notifications as a push notification to you in multiple mediums, not just email, but maybe a WhatsApp integration, maybe a text messages, etc. You also start to see the need for incident management, because it keeps throwing up these alerts. What happens then after somebody gets an alert? How do you know that these events are properly managed? Whether if it needs an escalation, somebody needs to review it. Somebody has to send a team to respond to that incident. So who is looking after these things, whether they are being tracked or not? So the VMS system should be able to have the tracking mechanism of not only triggering the event, but also recording the action that is taken, who has taken the action, who has escalated it, what time, when it was addressed, and what is the final closure for that ticket. And then you can have a trend analysis based on that information. So the system is expected to have an incident tracking integrated into the VMS platform. Now, gone are the days where we have cameras and then we do everything with cameras. There is definite need now to integrate with external systems. Access control is increasingly being asked for integration through the cameras. Like whether you want to integrate boom barriers with number plate recognition, for example, or through facial recognition, opening up turnstiles, or electromagnetic doors, for example, or sounding a hooter, or switching on the floodlights in case of an intrusion detection in the nights, are integrating with PA systems, the public address systems. These are kind of things that should be possible through the VMS system, like a two-way talk down, for example. Then, as a next step, is the integration with your existing applications. Maybe it's an ERP system, your employee attendance tracking purposes, your visitor management system. Imagine a scenario where you have multiple locations. The system detects health management. Let's take the simple example of health management. If the camera is down at X location, imagine the scenario where the VMS detects it. VMS has the ability to create a support ticket, send out an email to the vendor who manages that particular location. Your CCTV is managed by somebody else, obviously, because the physical maintenance of the equipment may be done by a third-party source. So your VMS system should have the capability to automatically generate a support ticket, for example, and send it out an email to them so they can immediately come and rectify it. So those kind of things are becoming increasingly the need of the hour. This is as of what we see today. Now, the requirements keep evolving. I think I'll initiate a few of them, and then Srinivas can also jump in here in terms of how he sees the future requirements coming up from multiple verticals, and not just one vertical. As I said, this webinar is for understanding of how the customizations are being requested across multiple verticals, whether it is healthcare, whether it is pharma, whether it is education, etc. So there definitely should be a possibility to build those custom built use cases in the VMS platform itself. Along with the custom built use cases, you should have a workflow management also is becoming the need. When I say workflow, I'll just give a small example. For example, if there is an intrusion, automatically we know that there could be a sounding a hooter alarm, somebody may be doing some action. So beyond that, if there is an area one and there's an intrusion, so you probably send out a notification also to the security guard. In the second area two, you have a glass break event that's coming from a sensor, for example. So there's a glass break sensor and that gives out the event. So if it is coupled with that within a specific time period, if both events happen, then you escalate it to the security head, for example. So the possibility of having workflows defined in the platform and the ability to manage your escalations and workflows is becoming crucial as we move forward.
Yeah, Vamsi, I think it's a good point to be take it much more beyond the workflows. The IoT integrations and pattern analysis are becoming such a core for the requirement of most of the customers, whether it is heat sensors or whether it is atmospheric sensors or smoke sensors. All these are prevalent in the buildings and also all the locations where the cameras are there. Most of the times, like you mentioned before in the previous slide, where the equipment is already available, the cameras are already available. How do you get that information back to the source, to the VMS? And based on the customer requirement, whom to escalate and what is exactly to be done as a next step in the workflow. Like if you have a smoke detector and then smoke is detected, and then that location with the geolocation, with the camera information, everything is sent to a specific QRT team. And that if they have all that information available, this is the question Dominic always asks. Like when it comes to the smoke, when it comes to the fire, external devices are there. Can the VMS take that information into the, and then do a meaningful next step as a workflow and do the escalation process? That is what is very important for the, customization, because you cannot give the VMS as a, just a viewer, VMS as a, just a solution just to manage a couple of things, but it needs to have much more built into it when it is required by the customer. So the use cases of the customers keep coming. Some of them are very unique to their industry. Some of them are very unique to their business vertical. And those need to be customized in the VMS. And the VMS has to have that flexibility in terms of scaling up, in terms of modification abilities, and quick turnaround by the provider like Duranc, where if the requirement is given, can you do this in a couple of weeks? And then deploy it back. That's the question is very important.
Yeah, so we will cover a few of such use cases in the subsequent slides to see how some of them are addressed, how they are integrated into the VMS itself, so that there is no additional impact or the less impact in terms of integrating with different providers, trying to communicate with each other with different multiple protocols, etc. All those get eliminated with a single unified platform. So we will cover a few of those use cases like that. And integrations, when we speak of integrations, there is with specialized software such as BIM software in case of a construction industry, for example, the building management, information management systems. So the possibility to integrate with that, integrating with drone feeds, because these days drones are becoming prevalent now. So we get a feed from the drone and analyze that feed, whether it is in terms of monitoring for quality check purposes or ensuring or checking the progress, project progress purposes. So both ways it could be used. There are multiple use cases for it.
All in the real time. The drone feeds are pretty important if it is real time. And post-processing is fine, but there is a requirement of 50-50 currently, where the drone feed is required to be analyzed on a real-time basis for some of the agriculture purposes or some of the building the modification purposes. But the post-processing also should be available in the VMS system.
Yeah, definitely. And then once we have all this information, the customization of the existing reports is also a critical portion of the VMS. So obviously, every report that is required by every customer, it may not be possible within one single VMS, but definitely there should be a scope in terms of creating or modifying as required to ensure that you have a trend analysis, you have understanding of what is happening. Let's take an example of simply a license plate recognition. So that's a most prevalent thing these days, right? You have a license plate recognition either through your VMS or camera these days, whatever. So there is the information that comes in terms of all the vehicles. What you really need is, okay, it's good to have all the data, so that all that is data now. What information can you gather out of it? For example, if you're managing transportation, for example, or a manufacturing facility, etc., where there is you do a weighbridge, there's a weighbridge that carries material out, so you need to have a track of what vehicles at what weight went out at what times, how many times a specific vehicle came in today with goods. So these kind of analysis that are specific to use cases, specific to some particular vertical or a customer, or something that needs to be catered to by the system. So it should be scalable enough. It may not have everything inbuilt, but the ability to incorporate those kind of things into the system is crucial. And then I cannot stress any more than it should be these days in terms of cyber security. So whatever system that you use, the importance is very, very critical in terms of ensuring your security of all the data, not only the video data, the events that get triggered, who these events are sent to, in what modes these events are sent, what is the security for the cameras, whether to ensure there is no access to outsiders for these cameras and the events, etc. It's very critical to ensure you have a secure platform that still does not hinder you from accessing from anywhere. It's not that I'll make everything secure, but I'll have to go to office and then only I can access it. Then it's of no use. The flexibility is gone. So you need a system that's flexible, allowing you to connect from wherever you are, but have inbuilt security. And obviously, when we think of security from outside, people think of VPNs, but then VPN people who managed VPNs will understand the complexities involved and the troubles that you face. So are there better solutions through the VMS? Yes, we have better solutions using end-to-end encrypted connectivities these days. So we need to have the VMS system that has proper security in place. And last but not least is the compliance requirements as well. GDPR has become prevalent, which is directly impacting in the surveillance industry. But there are others like HIPAA, for example, for healthcare, which is not a direct impact on this, but it has criteria or conditions that how you maintain the confidentiality of a patient, for example, because patients are there in your premises, you need to have CCTVs, but you need to define your retention mechanisms, what data you keep, what data for how long, etc. So there are certain impacts from HIPAA perspective on the surveillance platform. So this VMS should be catering to such kind of compliance requirements as well. So what it requires is, as we spoke about, a unified system which has the VMS functionality, which is management of your devices, your users, etc., along with the analytics, which enable you gather information out of the video feeds that you have. And real-time analysis of this video feed is becoming essential these days. It's unless you want to remain as a cost center, for example. So typically when we talk of surveillance security, people look at it as a cost center. It's a necessary evil. We need to have it in place just in case something goes wrong. I'll have something to fall back on. I can go back to the recording and get. So we are moving away from that aspect of being a cost center, but how can we add more value to the business at large is what the departments are thinking of these days, whether it is safety department, security department. They are looking at how can we improve or provide inputs for the operations teams to improve the operations. We have so many examples, whether it is retail or logistics, etc., wherein it could be risk management, it could be operational improvement in any area. So because there is data that's coming from the cameras are in place, cameras are a witness to everything that happens. They see 24/7. So as long as you can analyze the data and provide inputs to the operations teams, you have direct impact that you can give to the business. So that's where it becomes critical to be able to analyze the video feed, and the VMS should have that capability, integrated capability, to have the analysis of the video feeds and provide the right information to the right person at the right time. Yeah, so the focus has shifted not only from safety security, but also in terms of improving operations and bringing in more efficiencies and process improvements, etc. So which gives rise to automatic custom development, because everything, one bullet doesn't kill everything. So we'll have to have customized solutions for different needs, and the solution that we deploy should have that flexibility to ensure your specific requirements can be addressed by extending the platform or incorporating that into the neural network models that are built for analysis purposes. And we also spoke about IoT devices as well. So the integration becomes critical, because not everything can be done through video feed, for cost reasons as well, not only the video feed as well. So you will have easy to deploy or even proliferation of all the IoT devices, be it sensors, various types of sensors that you use all across. So all these devices are the robots that, for example, clean the shop floor. So there is possibility to integrate with those kind of things. So the integration becomes critical because there is proliferated usage, along widespread usage of the IoT devices, which provide information, but then you don't have visual clue of it. There are times where the IoT sensors go faulty and they send multiple, sensor event triggers are sent. So you have a possibility to visually verify through the VMS platform. Like, for example, there is a sensor, vibration sensor that is kept, for example, a PIR sensor gives out events. Then you have a possibility to validate that as a second step automatically through the video verification through the VMS. Then you know whether it's a real alarm or a false alarm, and then know whether to consider it or ignore that. So it can aid in terms of improving your security operations or overall monitoring processes. So it's important to integrate that.
So going back to the unification of the VMS and video analytics, Vamsi, see the advantage of having a video management system with inbuilt analytics within the platform itself as an architecture, unified architecture, gives you a lot of scope for real-time analysis without having multiple vendor products to be integrated to get an analysis done for a specific video. So this opportunity where you have everything into one single platform, also integrating, like you said, the IoT devices, all the processing happens in a real time and gives you a very real time output, so that you can address the issues at a very short span of time. So the VMS with integrated video analytics is something which is a future opportunity in terms of even protecting your investment, because all these VS, the video analytics that will be integrated into the video management system, will be custom made for a specific customer requirement. Then it becomes a product or a solution specifically built for them. So that customization is very much needed in terms of scalability, also in terms of flexibility. And once these two are together, then the real value of this VMS and analytics can be reaped by the customer.
Yeah, definitely. So we look at some of the use cases as we were looking at in terms of these customizations that we have done, right? So one thing is detection of a foreign object. This is a use case for a sugar mill that we have done. Basically, when the sugarcane is lifted and put it on the feeders and goes through the conveyor belts, there are times where the wooden logs or the iron rods fall on top of the conveyor. There is a possibility that they get into the crusher, and the crusher needs to be stopped and cleaned, which is a huge cost in terms of the time it takes. Because the mill runs 24/7 during the season, and they cannot afford a stoppage. So there was a need to build custom neural network models, train the system to be able, which can detect the presence of the wooden logs or iron rods, etc., the foreign objects as we call, on these conveyor belts and the feeders. Then deploy that specific neural network as an add-on to that particular use case, putting up, and then integrate it with the hooter alarm, so that the guy who's operating the crane automatically hears the sound and stops that crane from operating at that particular time, removes this, the obstruction or the foreign object, and then continues with the process. So there is a specific requirement that came up, and it's all these many of such custom developments require inputs from the customer, and that is important that your VMS provider works in hand with you, because these are the requirements that we cannot simply visualize or imagine. Because as a technology company, we will focus on how to make something possible, not on actually these kind of things that businesses face. And you are running the business, and you will probably know more in terms of what could add value, or what problem is more important to solve today, and what problem you can push to tomorrow, or what is important, etc. So you will give us that information, and we are ready to build such kind of models and then deploy for you, which adds value today for you, for your organization.
I remember, Vamshi, when this customer has come on board with the requirement, they did not just give the raw data of what the incidents are happening, but also they have discussed in length with us like how and what they want in terms of achieving as an end goal. And not only that, they have also sat with us and then worked with workflows. Who need to be escalated, and how the command control should be informed, and then what needs to be done after the situation has triggered, and all the post logs that the incident, after the incident, that everything was discussed with them. I think that is where the collaboration between the customer and our technology team will help in achieving the end goal there.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll look at some other use cases, like a couple more of them for everybody to understand or get an idea of how it works, or what we do. So this is an example of near-miss incident detection for a manufacturing company in Europe, where we have done detection of near-miss incidents. So it's not just the accident detection, but near misses, which means to say there was a possibility of an accident to happen based on the conditions. It's a combination that we analyze. It's not just the proximity, but the combination of the proximity and the velocity of the forklift that's moving across. So if the velocity is X, the distance needs to be Y. If the velocity is A, the distance has to be more than B, for example. So there is a combination of both of these parameters that need to be considered by the system before you note that incident as a near miss or the possibility of an accident to happen. Because they had the data in terms of checking out of, if you have about 100,000 near miss incidents, there is a possibility of one fatal accident to happen. So based on that data, there was a need to automate the mechanism of identifying all the near miss incidents on the shop floor. So this was a use case that was discussed with the partner company, and then build the network models that can detect that based on these combinations of proximity and velocity of the vehicle. Another such use case is the ability to integrate with robots, for example. So we speak of actions based on the event that get triggered. The actions can be performed by either a human or even a machine. So in this scenario, the action is performed by a robot itself. So we send the coordinates to the robot. This is for a pharma major. So for the pharma company, wherein if there is a spillage on the ground that's identified or detected by the analytics, the video analytics, the coordinates are also sent out, and the robot are given to the cleaning robot, and the cleaning robot goes to that place and cleans up that area. If there is a spillage of vial that falls on the ground, for example, when they are getting moved. So those kind of things are automatically processed, and the information is sent out to the robot automatically through the platform itself.
It actually reduces a lot of time and energy, and also wastage of robo moving around periodically. Before that, actually the robo was periodically moving around and then cleaning the entire place, and then looking for the spillages by itself. Now, after the implementation, it basically looks for only the spill area where the coordinates are. Instead of going 10 to 15,000 square feet all the way around, it's going to be just on a specific site or a spot where it needs to clean. So that increases the efficiency and reduces the cost also.
Some from a construction scenario, it's basically in terms of both worker safety, ensuring the PPE kits are worn. This is a common use case not only in construction but also on in logistics, in manufacturing as well. We see that specific requirement to ensure worker safety, that they are wearing a proper safety gear, whether it's helmet, harness, safety jackets, etc. And also by using the crane mount cameras, detection of or identifying the possibilities of when the crane is carrying the load, there is no danger to the persons below of the load falling down. So there is a mechanism to alert the pedestrians on the ground when there is a load being lifted on top of their heads, etc. So these kind of analytics are, some of them are specifically built for the construction, some of them are generic. And there is also a possibility to integrate with the BIM software, as we were looking at, which can measure the construction progress over a period of time through the BIM software. So the visual images are taken, analyzed, and provided input automatically to the BIM software for further processing. There are a few more use cases like that. Both we spoke about multiple things, such as reporting, for example, custom reporting. There are some specific reports that are built, whether it's visitor management or parking management, for example. There are use cases for workflows or custom scenarios wherein it's not just the vehicle number that's important to open a boom barrier. It's also the driver who's driving. So both, it should be an authorized person who is driving the car, and also the car has to be a registered vehicle. Then only the boom barrier will open. So it's a combination of a facial recognition and a license plate detection analytic defined as a workflow, that when both are matched, then only the gate opens. It's not for unknown people coming, taking the vehicle out, for example. Some stranger comes out, takes your vehicle out. It's not possible, because then the gate will not open unless he is also a registered known user. So there are such use cases that are specifically built. So that gives you an idea in terms of what is possible, what kind of customizations are possible. Where is this? Yeah,
that's a good use case, Vamsi. Double validation of number plate detection and the facial recognition was very much required for one of the high security zone. That's the customer you are referring to. So it's a very important validation, because most of the time, if somebody else takes the vehicle and tries to go inside, it's a violation of security, because this person might have stolen the vehicle so that he'll get an access into that facility. So what the customer wanted was 100% validation, double validation of the number plate and the authorized driver. So that actually eliminates the problem of unknown people getting into the car and then getting inside the facility. So those are customizations that comes up with the customers, and our solution is very flexible in terms of managing those and then giving them a quick turnaround in terms of development and deployment.
Those those use cases that we spoke about, and there could be many more depending on the type of vertical. Whether in healthcare there could be different use cases that we have versus logistics, different use cases that we have. But overall, the impact or the reason for having a unified system such as Duranc Vision is to have the impact in terms of ensuring your risk management, ensuring compliance, whether it is to statutory compliances, safety compliances, regulations, etc. Also provide worker safety and personal safety of the equipment as well as the human beings through the analysis of video data. So the base for it is the video data that comes from the cameras. And then you have artificial intelligence that is inbuilt into the VMS platform, which analyzes this feed in real time and provides you alerts and notifications that you can take action upon. The actions are important. And these actions can also be automated in many cases. So the automation is also an important aspect of it. Like, for example, automatic dispatch of a QRT team when some incident is detected. So ability to notify some user to take an action is one aspect. Then automating that action that is to be taken is the second aspect of it. And then tracking that incident to closure, recording what actually happened, tracking who's escalated, as we spoke about, whether that incident required an escalation, who escalated it, at what point, when the incident was closed. So have the complete record of the life cycle of that incident is an important aspect of it. And that gives rise to the impact on terms of that what we spoke as risk management, compliance, impacts on safety. Providing the overall outcome, what we really need is improve our operations and businesses, and to provide a better service to our customers, to ensure that we prevent our loss or damages, whether it is to property, whether it is to the personnel, etc., or the business operations. Then while preventing the loss, also have possibility to improve our operational processes. So when we analyze the process flows, when we analyze the quality checks, video analytics are used in we have a few use cases wherein product quality checks happen because we know whether the items are fitted properly or not, etc., on the assembly line when the material comes out. So quality checks, etc., can be done automatically. Improving for process improvements can happen. Then with all this data, can have predictive analytics in terms of what is happening. Our maintenance schedules can be predicted for equipments, for example. You can have predictive analytics with retail. Also, you can do a lot of predictive analytics in terms of your footfall counting, demographic analysis. All that is possible where you can have the proper reporting and dashboards that help you in terms of improving overall customer satisfaction. So with that in mind, the core of the VMS solution should be able to, when we look at the previous slide here, the base was video data, right? So the video data, what's the source for that video data is typically the cameras. And to get that video data, you need some kind of a network. So the ability to connect the cameras from one or multiple of your locations, the ability through any type of a network. You may have a static IP, you may be able to do port forwarding, or you may not be able to. So whatever type of network you have, whatever type of camera you already have, that is the biggest differentiator for Duranc VMS. There is no need to change any cameras or any of the existing equipment to take advantage of what we spoke about or to build custom use cases. There is no need to change any of the existing infrastructure. Make use of what you already have, bring that on board to the platform through any type of a network, your existing cameras, then run video analytics on top of that. So the fourth point is the analytics that we're jumping to. But yeah, so you bring in the feed, you can obviously manage that. We have spoken at length in terms of user management, recording and storage management, etc., which are there. But then on top of that, you have analysis, you have integrations through APIs, well-defined APIs are provided by the platform. So that's what the system, Duranc Vision system enables, connectivity and analysis of it with integrated as a one single unified platform, providing the complete scalability and flexibility for you, whether you want to build custom analytics, whether you want to change existing camera functionalities, for example, or whether it is in terms of storage, resolutions, etc., build custom analytics. All of it is possible through the platform. It's simple to use, easy to use, because no technology is useful if it is too complex to use. So if instead of having to type in English, you have to give coding to get information from ChatGPT. Do you think how many people would use ChatGPT? It's because we're able to ask simple question like how you talk. Tell me what's most useful, or whatever you want to ask. You're asking in English. ChatGPT is giving a response in the language that we understand, we're able to use it. If it is too complex, like in C++ coding, to give anything, there should be a proper structure. Ask me a question with, this is my statement, this is the inputs that you have, and these are the parameters I want you to consider, and this is the outcome I want. If you have to structure your questions, do you think how many people will use ChatGPT today? It's impossible. Nobody will use it. The user friendliness is critical for anything to be of help or use. So that's what Duranc focuses on, to ensure that you can take the maximum benefit out of the solution. I will not stress anything more on the security aspect of it. It's must, as we spoke about, cybersecurity is very critical these days. We hear of so many incidents taking place. So that is completely ingrained in the genes or the core of the Duranc Vision platform, to ensure everything is completely encrypted and protected. Your data is protected. I guess overall, we work in partnership with our customers and partners to provide you the actual solutions that help you improve your bottom line, improve your operations, integration with existing systems, not as working in a silo. We are not in a world of silos anymore. It's a connected world. We need to be sure that whatever software, hardware that we have talk to each other, provide information, exchange information across multiple systems. That's an important aspect of it. And we're not a regular CCTV vendor. We're a technology partner that works with you to ensure that your problems are addressed and your solutions are future proof, and the ability to extend and scale beyond what we see as the needs of today and tomorrow. So I guess with that, I'll close, and any questions I can take up.
Yeah, Vamshi, you can stay on the screen of the last slide on which we can, probably catch up a couple of questions on that. If you can continue to share that on the side of the screen. So, yes, the use cases that you mentioned, uh, particularly like camera on the crane during the construction site. So, we have seen there are cameras, PTZ cameras on the crane to focus on the material. One is for the convenience of the driver, to identify the object where to lift. So they use, and also that can be also used for safety purpose. How many of them really use this having you VMS in this project site? I don't know whether do we really use it, or is that a need? Or my question was, why not VMS becomes an internal part of the entire surveillance solution? It's not just CCTV. You have 30, 32 channel DVR or NVR. They run too many wires and too many people watching on the screen. But when are we going to make it kind of part of the entire solution by the consultant, by the security consultant, and also the facility manager asking that this is what I need. I don't need too many features, but tailoring to my requirement. That's what you explain. So let's move. Before that, I think we have Paul was waving his hand, and I've allowed Paul. You can go ahead and talk to Sreeni or Vamshi. Before that, if you could introduce, that would be fine.
Yeah. Hi, Srini and Vamshi. Good to see you all again after a long time. I'm Paul F. Mecheri, a retired Air Force Kargil veteran, and I worked in different kind of organizations, let it be manufacturing or banking or institution, construction, and all those places. Now, what we understand is this Vamsi, which I would like to say is that what you said is that, yeah, access control system, fire alarm system, and all those give triggers out and action can be taken. About the CCTV being there, a live, real-time action to be taken, it has to be integrated, and which you say is that VMS, your software has that capability to do so. Let's take an example. If it's an institution where there's 1,500 CCTVs installed, and anything which is live happening and action. Usually we say CCTV images are, it's a postmortem kind of, so was the thought earlier. Now people have started realizing that, yeah, real-time action can be taken, it can be triggered, and action can be taken before the any incident happens. So I would like you to elaborate in that more, because I would say all, let it be from ACS to HUs to even the anything like access control or anything, everything which is there integrated in one, a package which becomes a security system for everything, every industry rather. Like you said, construction, yes, I know there is for the boom, we used to have that, how much weight, load capacity, and all, we used to do that. So, yeah, this is my point of view, Vamshi and Srini.
I definitely agree with you, Mr. Paul. Thanks for taking the time and joining and sharing your thoughts. Completely agree with you. There are certain cases, like you mentioned, which are applicable cutting across multiple verticals. There are certain cases which are specific to industries. Like you spoke about the one where you have 1,500 cameras, for example, and what kind of analytics that you can have. Uh, as you rightly said, most of the times it's for investigative purposes, and whatever systems that you have, let's start with that. I mean, keep aside all the advanced analytics advancements aside. The simplest thing of how much time it takes for you to investigate what happened. If somebody says, I've lost my bag, for example, or whatever. So assume it's a hospital or things like that. Then somebody comes to you and says that I've lost a bag and I was here yesterday between 3 to 5. So how much time does it take for you to actually identify that today, for example, with your NVRs, assuming that you have an NVR, you have recordings,
Uh,
versus when you implement a system?
can I interrupt you for a minute on this
Sure.
question? Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's say I'm talking about an institution, a large institution where, as I said, around 1,500 cameras are installed, and in which uh, a student is going to be, a student is going to um, murder a person. Rather, a situation as such is seen in the CCTV, and can it trigger before it happens, not that after happening? Is that possible? Because this
See,
incident happened
there are,
yeah, it
Mr.
happened. This
Paul.
incident happened. That's the reason I'm asking.
Okay, Paul. See, the scenarios can be defined, scenarios can be understood, and aggression. We also have audio analysis, and when the video and audio is coming, based on those, we can do the analysis and give you the real-time alerts. But the intention of the person with a hidden weapon or something like that, if a human being cannot identify that, even the technology cannot identify. So I want to be kind of like specific about that. So if there is an altercation, if there is a kind of a scenario, those things can be escalated immediately so that the action can be taken or the QRT team can go there. End of the day, the patterns can be identified and the patterns can be pushed and given so that prevention can happen. But the intention of that event or the action of that particular person could be difficult to identify.
Yeah, let me add a couple of
Let's say,
points on that. Just a couple of points on it, Mr. Paul. So, if I understood you correctly, let's say, for example, the student comes here and then he's stabbing. At that time, I know that there
before
is no
stabbing,
point in detecting.
before stabbing, he's chasing that person, let's say.
Yeah. So the first thing is prevention. That's what I was coming to. Prevention is better than
Yeah.
cure. And then the first step is whether there is a possibility to detect these kind of, whether maybe he's carrying a larger knife, may not be just a small,
Yes.
simple fork or whatever. So whether it's possible to detect that at the entrance gates, whether we can do that. So how do we do it? And we are talking about cameras, right? So cameras means it's based on computer vision. Vision means I should be able to see them before. It's not a metal detector or anything. So there are, for different things, there are different bullets for different types of things, right? So different solutions.
Yeah.
When we are talking about here, we're talking about vision technologies, which means that should be visible. As long as it's visible, if he carries it, and you can ask me whether if I have intention to murder, will I carry my knife like this? No way, I will not, obviously.
No way.
So whether it
Yeah.
will help, don't know practically, but technically what is possible is what we need to see. So we need to prevent that from happening. So as you were saying, if there is people running one after the other completely, we there
Yeah.
may be false alarms in terms of people running out from the class going to play. It's possible to do that, but can we detect it? If there are 10 incidents, one that you can prevent from this happening, is it what the take, the risk are identifying there are 10 false alarms, but I can actually prevent one real incident from happening? Is it worth it or not? Is a question that as administrators we take it. It's see, administration is always about choices, right? What choice do I make with the information that I have? Whether I'm okay to take 10 false incidents, but it helps me to prevent one actual incident from happening. If it is worth for me, I will implement that. If I feel no, it's not worth it because it happens once in 10 years, maybe you don't implement. So it's a choice that we make. But as a technology, yeah, it's available.
Yeah,
So as
adding
a
to point,
technology, it is
like,
available. Let's say he's chasing with a knife in his hand. So that can be triggered and alarm
Yes.
can be provided before the
Yes.
incident can happen.
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Adding to
That's
Paul,
good.
am
Yeah,
I audible, Srini?
Yes, Dominic.
Yeah, adding to Paul, like I would say, abnormal action or abnormal behavior
Behavior.
can be triggered. Like example, though whether it is sensitive issue, like yesterday's parliament, three of them
yeah,
jump out of the gallery. Yeah, that could be easily tracked if someone moving out of his seat and coming forward to the well of the house. you know yes, that can be triggered, and the intention even jump out of it, but at least we know this guy is moving out of his zone or a secured zone at stepping into dangerous zone. So you can use VMS very effectively in those scenario and triggered an alarm triggered so that action can be taken. There is some intentions, abnormal actions have been happening, so that those incidents also can be where VMS could do a wonderful job in identifying abnormal actions or
very true, very
abnormal
true.
behavior. Yeah.
Dominic, to add to that point, Paul, we have seen one of the educational institution, which is our customer. We have
Yeah,
seen one of the use case where the vehicles were being stolen by somebody. And,
yeah,
this was happening in a periodic way. And because of our solution, which is kept there, and then analysis was done, like if it is, in the classroom time between 9 and 10 or 10 and 11 and 11 and 12, usually people don't go out their vehicles. They don't take out the vehicles. It's a set time
yeah,
that usually they take out the vehicles. So we created a pattern for that. And ultimately, they could cart the a person of interest who was actually taking the vehicles out, once in a while. So these are the things, those are the patterns that, you need to understand. This is, since you are talking about educational institution, there could be dark zones where the people are not supposed to be entering, or there could be some places where they are not supposed to stay after 6 o'clock. If there are two people sitting at the place where nobody should be there, then needs to get an alert. There are many cases that you can build slowly one by one and then start implementing it to reap the benefit in the long run. That is why the customizations are very important. Like in the initial itself, Dominic said that there need to be a lot of customizations to be done for the VMS. That's the area where we are into. Like,
yeah,
you may be getting a lot more requirements in terms of changing scenarios. Those scenarios need to be addressed, and those scenarios need to be built in the ML and AI, which can give you the long-term benefit of it.
yeah.
One
Very
more
true.
case study
Right,
is there,
rightly said.
Srini.
Right,
Paul, one
rightly
second.
said.
I'll just bring in another. Again, there's an incident of university in Kerala, like Cochin University, recently, just 2 weeks back. There were some festivals happening, and only the people who had the passes is allowed, and there only one gate. So a student who wanted to participate in that fest or the music festival started assembling at the entrance of these entry point. It started growing a larger number. So there are cameras in those areas. If you look at that, I did a study on that. There are a lot of cameras in that entire campus of Cochin University. What the management could have done, the moment if the crowd is gathering more than say 100, 200, it's growing, swelling,
Mhm, mhm.
and therefore students lost their life because suddenly there were a downpour and people wanted
Yeah,
to take the shelter, and they all break rushed towards and there was a chaos and four people lost their life. If effective VMS, here is a solid case, I would say,
yeah,
where there are, every college has a fest and it's mad sometime, and wherever actually the crowd control, I would say, crowd management, the VMS can play very important role. Those, if the management has spent something, on this that 4 precious life could have saved. Management, that is where in India we think why VMS is not implemented seriously. When there is technology available, when AI is available, when camera, you already invested crores of rupees on a CCTV. What stops you in getting some intelligence out of these video footings? That's, I'm a little confused. Over to Paul.
Dominic,
Continue. We have 3 more
Yeah,
questions to take.
that's
Yeah.
it's
yeah, that's what I was wondering. Though we have all the equipments and we are having the CCTVs and we are doing the postmortem,
correct.
and analyzing later. So once we have this already integrated, we can prevent or risk mitigate before it happens.
Yes, yes. Paul, on what the
And
Dominic was
thank you
mentioning
so
about
much.
the on the fest in situation,
Yeah.
one of the small educational institution came up with a very small requirement, Paul, since you are from the education industry. So they have 75 people in the hostel. It's a training institution. Periodically they do the training, 3 months course, 3 months course. So, but sometimes what happens is instead of 72 people in the hostel, there will be like 80, 75, 90. So they don't know how many people actually get into the hostel. So what the warden wanted us to do is, it's a one entry, one exit kind of a scenario, right? They said like, do the people count after 7 o'clock. Give me a report when it is 7 o'clock. Just to see like if there is more than 72 people, we just need to give an alert. That's all they want. They don't want more than 72. They don't want more than, less than 72 after 7 o'clock. As simple as that. So that's the requirement.
So, moving to the question,
Thanks.
I think Hariprasad, you would have got the answer from Vamshi, who just answered your question. So, there's one more. How to control on the work management in productivity of the workplace? How control on the work management in productivity at the workplace? Vamshi, Sreeni, can you take up?
Sir, can you repeat that question?
How control on the work management in productivity of, so what it may be saying, the productivity of the people on the floor, VMS can help.
Give us the
Yeah,
scenario. Yeah, give us the scenario, and we do collect the data from your scenario, and exactly what is the scope of that scenario, and the outcome is defined. Then whatever the visible scenarios are there, we can analyze, give you the patterns, give you the predictions, and also give you whatever is required in terms of your outcome is required. So, but these two are very important, where we need to have access to the data, and scope need to be defined clearly.
So next question is cost benefit analysis for a particular industry available for comparison purpose or to have a fair idea about investment required? I think
Sure.
you can speak to one. Yeah.
Yeah. Vamshi, you want to
cost
take it?
benefit analysis is typically on a use case basis. So cost benefit analysis is not for a specific industry vertical, but for a specific use case. It makes more sense to do that because as an industry, what use cases you want to apply? Maybe you want to apply 5 use cases, 10 use cases. So what type of analysis you want to perform? Based on that, the cost benefit analysis can be done. So we will need to work as a use case basis analysis, not as an industry vertical basis analysis. Because if I can prevent, for example, let's talk simplest things, right? Simplest intrusion detection. The value of intrusion detection for a logistics company or a warehouse company is way different from an intrusion detection for some other vertical, maybe an ATM detection. So the value analysis will depend on vertical, but then what kind of use case we are talking of. So both need to be considered. So we'll have to get into specifics rather than generic information for that.
I'd like to add one point to that. I'll give you a use case scenario on that. One of the land bank company had one critical land of somewhere around 1 acre in an urban location, and they have always a problem with somebody is encroaching it. Somebody is trying to put some material there to construct a small hut or something, and the guard was always been driven away or kept aside while they're doing that stuff. So what they asked is they wanted to put like 10 cameras on a tall poles, and then the poles are covered with barbed wire so that nobody gets up onto the pole. And all these cameras are connected with Wi-Fi, SIM card, not Wi-Fi, but the SIM card. Each camera is connected with the SIM card. So all the 10 cameras are connected with the SIM card, and they're using Duranc Cloud for getting any intrusion or any objects dumped on the site on a real-time basis. Okay, now if this is 10 lakhs investment, right? And by the way, they lost a couple of cameras because somebody has broken them, but they reinvested on it. But the site is around 28 to 30 crores. So for 20 crores, 30 crores property to be monitored on 24/7, they invested 10 lakhs. So it is their call in terms of what is the benefit that they are getting. ROI specifically for the security related matters or a process related matters is basically individualized in terms of their outcome. A lot of times you won't get an ROI if it is the safety related analytic that is done. Like if you are checking safety helmets of 100 people, and then if you want to analyze an ROI, it's very difficult to put a number on it. If there is some accident happens, then if a life is lost, like you said, Dominic, in university case, 4 lives are lost. If they have invested 1 crore, if they think that ROI is 0 for me because I'm just investing in 1 year, no incident has happened, and end of the year, if the auditor comes and says that no incident happened, we invested 1 crore, that's a 0 ROI. There's no reason to explain to them. That's where the debate of these implementations come on a specific use case purpose, that like what Vamshi said. Dominic, you are on a mute.
Yeah, I'll take the last question of this session.
Okay.
So what is the advantage of server-based VMS over NVR with hybrid VMS solution?
Yeah, so there are multiple advantages to it. I was just typing an answer for that. I just checked it, so I'll put it online here. So there are multiple advantages. Let's say one to start with is the accuracy levels, because the analysis that's done on the hybrid VMS type of a solution with NVR is limited, because the proper neural network based analysis requires GPU systems to be processed for more accurate results. That's one aspect of it. Accuracy is one. The second is the scalability and the flexibility that it offers. So with requirements change, you have the capability to add a different model, deploy a different model to it, slightly tweak the model. It won't be easy or possible, sometimes not even possible, on the hybrid based or the NVR based solutions. Whereas with a server based solution, you can deploy a different network model, tweak the network model easily, deploy that again, updates become easy. So you have a lot of flexibility and scalability in this model compared to the NVR based solutions.
So just to add that is, when you have multi-location, you have like 20 locations, 30 locations, or 50 locations, or if you take example of a gold loan, business where they have 200 to 500 locations, all those localized installations cannot be done like with a lot of analysis and a local processing. And NVRs doesn't give you that kind of a value add in terms of giving real-time analysis for different use case scenarios. That's where we pull up to the server side or the cloud side and then do, because we have a lot of hardware possibilities, graphic cards are there with high resolution, high efficient analytics can be run on it and then give real-time, feedback to them. So those are the differences. It's a trade-off. But if it is just an isolated single location, I think, you can go with one NVR, but I have seen the scenarios where in a mall, if there are like 60 NVRs or 50 NVRs with a lot of racks sitting there with 60 mouse, each mouse is connected to one NVR. That's where you need to scale up and then, migrate or, upgrade to proper VMS with analytics.
Wonderful. I think we had very interactive sessions, and not many questions could have come, but we will touch base individually, especially like Hari Prasad, Vamshi will get in touch, Paul will get in touch, and thanks Paul for making very interactive. So this year, 2023, when we ending with a very wonderful session And 2024 we'll come back again with more specific, industry specific or need specific webinars. So what I was wanted to mention that not necessary that we do this webinar like this. If anybody wants, has more audience within your organization, okay, we could always send a request. We could do a industry specific or organization specific webinar so that your entire team understand. Some management would like to know more, so we could do again a similar presentation to a particular client or organization or an industry. So feel free to write to Vamsi or Sreeni, whose mail ID is already mentioned in the chat box, and we are hungry to engage with you and reach out to the nation and say, security should be our top priority. Just having cameras will not sufficient. We are not here to do investigation post-mortem. How can you avoid accidents, fire, safety? All this is possible, and you can make your surveillance system more interactive, more productive, and operationally fantastic tool for you. So we'll keep coming back, and we'll see. I think January again filled with a lot of activities. Maybe in the February we'll come back and continue our interaction directly with us. Sreeni and Vamsi will be happy to assist you. And thank you so much. You have a wonderful weekend, and advance Happy New Year, Happy Christmas, Paul, and look forward to see you all once again. Thank you. Have a great evening.
Thank you all of you.
And Paul and everyone. Happy New Year to everyone. Hope, have a safe holidays.
Thank you so much.
Wishing you too. Wish
Thank
you too. Wish you too.
Thank you. Thank you, Vamsi.